Hey everyone, welcome to the Dare to Care podcast, the podcast where we talk about the inner workings of ministry at Inspire Family Fellowship and community stories within and around the church. If you have any comments, stories, or questions about Inspire or our Dare to Care ministries at any point during the podcast today, feel free to send those questions to Amy at amy@inspirefamily.org. We also invite you to join us in person at Inspire any Sunday that you're able, 523 North 21st Street, Bismarck, North Dakota. Our Sunday services are at 9:15 and 10:45. My name's Ty Farnsworth. I'm the worship coordinator here at Inspire Family Fellowship, joined today by our Dare to Care and Women's Coordinator, Amy Langang, as well as our special guest today, and I'm going to get this right, Jena Gullo, who's the Executive Director at United Way.
So
happy to have you here.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
It is so cool to be in this building because over a decade ago, when Bismarck Public Schools was closing down Saxville,
Yes.
the superintendent at the time approached United Way because we were working with our agencies to develop the Center for Opportunity.
Sure.
Oh my
And
goodness.
we were so close to buying this building at the time, and it was just a school
Yep.
that they had just moved out of. And so it's so neat to see the renovations you've
Sure.
done and the transformation
Sure.
and what it's being used for. What a
Sure.
great,
Well, we're happy to have you back.
it's
Yes, you'll have
so
to take
exciting.
a tour when we're
Yeah.
done.
Yes,
See it all.
definitely. Very exciting to be here.
Well, good.
So Jena, you are from from United Way. You oversee all of United Way then. Is
Oh, yeah.
All right. Tell us what you do. Tell us what you do with United Way.
So a lot of people that are maybe a little bit older think of United Way as a fundraiser, but we still honor that because we have so many important agencies in the community that we want to still support doing great work. And so a small part of what our United Way does is review agencies, we hold them accountable, they report outcomes, and we fund them.
Okay.
So we fund, I think, 42 different programs every year. And so that's a part of what we do.
That's an incredible number.
Mm-hmm.
We used to just sprinkle money around to everybody and anybody, which is nice, but doesn't really create impact.
Sure.
So before I started at United Way, I've been at United Way for 16 years.
Okay.
So our board wanted to transform and do an impact United Way, just like 10, 15 years prior to that, other United Ways around the community were doing that. And so how we transformed is we've really become a problem solver. We have a good pulse on what the needs are of our agencies, of our community, of people in need, and we rally people around the table to solve them. So one example is, we always have the superintendent of Bismarck Public Schools and usually Mandan, either super or assistant on our board of directors. And so at the time, this was maybe 2013, they came to us and said, kids are coming to the nurse's office. They're dizzy, they're sick, they can't concentrate, and it's Monday morning. They weren't eating over the weekends, and so that's ridiculous. I mean, that's basically what our board said. This is ridiculous in Bismarck, Mandan, that kids are not having access to food. So first we tried to raise money, because that's the easiest part, right, of what we do. Don't get me wrong, we need people's help and money.
Yes.
But that is the easiest part. Raise money, give it out. So we tried to do that to an agency that had been doing the backpack program but stopped. And that didn't work. We tried to outsource through Great Plains Food Bank the backpack program, so they pack and deliver. We fund it. The agency at the time that was in charge of the backpack program didn't want that to happen. That's okay. So we decided we're not going to let kids go hungry over the weekends. So we just pulled together different businesses, different service groups, different churches, and we've been doing this for over 10 years now. We now feed, they pack, they sponsor, they pack, and then they deliver to any school that is in need of weekend backpacks of food. And we're near 1,700 local kids that we're feeding over the weekends.
It's really amazing. I'm a former teacher in Bismarck, and so
Really?
I have seen that program change these kids' lives.
Well, I mean,
because it's
how could it
absolutely
not?
heartbreaking to send those kids home on Friday knowing that they might not have a meal over the weekend, or their last meal is lunch or snack in the classroom.
Right. And then
So-
also just knowing that, I mean, the stress that
Yes.
induces on the child and the parents.
The family.
Knowing that school is oftentimes the safest place these kids can be because they're going to get breakfast and lunch.
Yep.
And so
It's just incredible the things you do. I mean, across the board. We were just talking before the podcast a few of the things that we knew about too. And I think we were fortunate enough to be able, with the gifts that we receive at the church, to tithe your direction. And I think that those funds went more towards your emergency
Our
shelter.
Yes.
Can you give us a little insight as to how that works in Bismarck and
So
what
we
role it
used
plays?
to have an incredible organization called Ruth Meyer's Hospitality House in Bismarck. They went through some struggles and they closed their doors. And so it was the end of 2017 that I received a phone call from another provider that focused on youth, Melanie Heidkamp actually, from YouthWorks. This had been after the city of Bismarck, the city of Mandan, the hospitals, the agencies, the Homeless Coalition had been meeting for months since May. And no one was willing or able to take on shelter.
Okay.
So it was starting to snow. I remember it clear as day. I was working late at the office, got the phone call from Melanie Heidkamp. Can United Way temporarily shelter the homeless? I don't regret the decision because it was the right thing to do. It's hard to build up programs in the community and it's expensive. And so United Way did it, and then we ended up trying to mitigate our risk and renting some apartments downtown. Mikey Hoven and Bonnie Daniel helped renovate and make it very nice, with donations. And so we did that for a while. And at a certain point, Community Works of North Dakota approached United Way and said, we found land. Do you want to go in and buy it and have a permanent shelter for the community?
Okay.
So we bought land on South 12th Street, which is the highest poverty neighborhood in Bismarck. And with the goal of creating a center for opportunity. So what we wanted to do here at Saxvik in 2015, we did in 2019. And so we've been sheltering the homeless since 2017.
That's incredible.
Our biggest night had 144 people.
Wow.
On the first snowstorm of 23. It was 2023. We had 144 people.
Wow.
And when we opened the new side, first of all, it's beautiful. And it's purposely beautiful because I want, when people walk through the door, for them to feel a sense of hope and self-worth and dignity, because they do deserve somewhere nice to rest their head, get some sleep, and help get over the crisis. We have so many people with mental health issues, traumatic brain injuries, too many elderly, many physical disabilities, and a lot of people in recovery. So we are substance free, and we don't turn any families away. I used to be a foster parent for over a decade, and there is no way we are going to put kids in a worse situation or more dangerous situation.
Yes.
And we are going to do everything we can to try to get that mom help. And so families that are under the influence, we don't turn away. Adults, single individuals, we try to get them help. But there's a coffee house in town that they can go to, and we have to keep it separated. We have to have a substance-free place because the majority of people who are homeless, they're in crisis. They're not chronically homeless. We need a safe place for people in recovery. Our board is very, believes in that so much that we just want to have a safe place. But we also want to bring in as many agents as we can to help people out of homelessness. So we were the only 24/7 shelter open until March 3rd of this year when COVID funding ran out. And so we are working extremely hard to get back open during the daytime because kids have nowhere to go after school, on the weekend,
days off, at
holidays,
school,
for goodness sakes. There's nowhere open and nowhere to go. And it's whether it's 90-degree weather or minus 65-degree weather, people need somewhere safe to be.
You
Sure.
do. So if somebody needs the shelter,
Yeah.
can you kind of walk us through how do they receive that? They show up at the door?
Yeah.
I mean, is that just what happens? And
Yeah. So now, since we're not closed during the daytime, they can show up at 8 p.m. and we have a little intake process. We have no funding for staffing. So I just, with the little funds that we have, I am just having security right now. Now, hopefully that will change because we're doing a fundraising campaign outside of our regular campaign to reopen during the daytime. But anyone in need of help can just show up at our doors at 8 p.m.
Okay.
If you did not hear about us until 3 in the morning and you're in a bad situation, which happens all the time, you can show up at our door at 3 a.m.
Okay.
And then you have to leave the shelter right now by 7 a.m. So our new hours are only 8 p.m. to 7 a.m. We had 35 different providers coming on site in a coordinated, robust, like super robust schedule, providing on-site services because the majority of the homeless don't have transportation.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have an ID. They don't have a social security card. They can't get a job without those things. They
Yep.
can't get housing. And so we had those services on site. We had
nice.
West Central Human Services providing mental health and addiction counseling. The YMCA was willing to provide Child Watch in case people had to go for job interviews or needed one-on-one support. 35 different services coming to the homeless.
Wow.
And it was working really well.
Very good.
Yes.
And it was just keeping people safe. So,
You talk about, it's a gorgeous building.
have you been in it?
I've never been in
Oh my
it,
gosh.
but my dad lives south on 12th, so
Yeah.
if I'm driving home from work to his place, you drive by it and it, right across from Jack's Steakhouse, it just
Yes.
pops out. And if, I were to ever find myself in a situation, it's such a gorgeous
Yeah.
beacon of hope for people to find and be
Thanks,
able to
Ty.
get the help that they need.
That was
So,
the goal. And it's right on South 12th, 1140
Okay.
South 12th Street.
Right across from Jack's.
Right across from Jack's Steakhouse.
I think everyone in town here, and especially, this neighborhood, if you go slightly to the
Yeah.
south, but even if you just walk downtown, we're all aware of the problem of homelessness in our community.
Yeah.
And just knowing that there are resources available, but that those resources need the help that our tithing
support,
can
yeah.
provide, the support
Yeah.
that other people can provide to United Way and that sort of thing, and for you guys to help with that. It's something that our community needs and is in desperate need of. So
Yeah.
And so I guess my follow-up question to that is, we at Inspire, we encourage tithing so we can tithe to the community here in Bismarck, and we want to keep it local.
Yeah.
But we also want to give of our time. Mm-hmm. And you have so many different, you said 42 different areas.
Agencies, yeah.
And there's a way to give. There's a way to give time and to volunteer. Can you give us some information, maybe congregation members here? What can they do to support and volunteer, and how do they get involved, and all that information?
I love that you asked me that. Thank you. First of all, any agency in the community, any church can list their needs on one of our websites called volunteerbizman.com. So anyone interested in just perusing that site, or if you have any volunteer needs here, you can post. Okay. Secondly, our Day of Caring is going to be our 26th annual Day of Caring is
up.
August 13th.
Okay.
There are half-day projects. There are full-day projects. We want everyone, anyone who can, to volunteer that day, whether it's your business or your family. We have family-friendly projects
cool.
for young kids. As long as you can supervise them. It's so important to teach them, right? Well, you know this, right? Speaking
Yep.
to the choir, volunteerism and giving back and thinking beyond yourself and what would Jesus do. So that's August 13th, and we're hoping to recruit 1,000 volunteers.
wow.
So those are our pre-COVID levels. So we
Okay.
gotta get past this COVID bump in
Yep.
the road, right? We always need help with our backpack program. So whether it's packing and delivering, picking up food, or even doing our inventory so that we can, doing food drives. We need food drives for child-friendly pop-top lids. Anything a child can really do themselves, put in the microwave or eat a protein bar or any type of healthy type snacks. We're looking for things like that for our backpack program.
Awesome.
But call our office. Shields. I'm going there after the podcast because every month they donate amazing clothes and shoes that they can't sell. And so then we have volunteers sort through it once a month, and then we contact all sorts of agencies like Abused Adult Resource Center, Youth Works, even Foster Hope through Burleigh County Social Services to come and pick out whatever they need. Help in our office, help at our shelter, help. I mean, there's so many different opportunities. It really depends on your availability, your skill level, your level of interest. We need you. We have such a small team. We have 6 people on our team.
Oh, wow.
We also run the Dolly Parton Imagination Library. So you could be a volunteer. There's sometimes people that move away. That's where kids under the age of 5 get a free book mailed to their home every single month. So we also need support for that program because it costs $25 per child for the year for shipping and handling. So you can sponsor your own child and also register your children or your grandchildren because it's
that is a cool,
such a cool.
Yes.
We're a part of it, and
yeah.
my son is 2, and he just loves every single month getting that new book in the mail.
Well, and that's supposed to really encourage quality parent time, a love for reading and learning, right? It is awesome. So we run that program, but we need volunteers to help pick up the books, contact the parents if they've moved, deliver, all sorts of things. So it really, if you want to help with our phones, we're always looking for volunteers to cover our phone and our door. We have people walking into our office needing help all the time. And so just being that caring, friendly person, we always say we treat a $10,000 donor the very same as we treat a homeless person in need of services. I mean, just being that friendly face.
Yes. She's busy.
She is busy.
We have a lot going on. But we want to get back open during the daytime. That's one of our major goals. Okay. We have some funds secured for overnight. So I feel confident we'll continue to do that for the community. We were hoping another agency would be able to take over the daytime. Since we closed in March, I'd been announcing all winter that we'd be closing during the daytime to give people prep time, to really bolster up their staff. But they can't, and I understand. People are strapped. So in lieu of another agency being able to take over the daytime, we really know that it's probably one of the most pressing needs in the community. And we have a beautiful facility, and we have a lot of people staying there overnight. So we're looking to recruit 250 new donors, or 250 donors to give new money. So we're not taking away from our agencies or other programs. 250 donors to give us an extra $2,500.
Okay.
So that's our challenge to the community. And we do so far have $50,000 in matching funds from 2 different donors. We're looking to get it up to at least 100 or 125. That was a grant I just submitted yesterday.
That's exciting. And so what's the best way? How do people donate your direction if they're looking for that? Do they need to come in somewhere? Can they do it online?
Either way. Options? They could give through your church and your market, if they want to do that, if that's the easiest, or if you guys want them to do that, they can go online to msaunitedway.org. Give right there. They can give monthly. We could take it from their credit card monthly or quarterly. Or they can just come into our office. We had one of our volunteers make a cash donation the other day, and it was surprising and beautiful, and it doesn't matter what amount. it's really needed. We also have events. But we have our Crosstown Brew Down.
We're Lutheran. It's okay.
Okay, good. July 31st on the rooftop at Stone Home Brewery.
Oh,
so
fun.
a bunch of breweries get together and raise money for our backpack program. Mm-hmm. And we have free food, all you can eat, to eat and drink, because you can sample all the different breweries. And we have... the food is going to be delectable. I don't want to misspeak, but I think from Baymont or Ramada.
Okay.
They're sponsoring it all, which is incredibly generous of them. And then All Aces Band is going to be playing.
Very
It's
cool.
on the rooftop on a Thursday night.
That'll be
much
great.
fun. Yeah.
And so do they have to get tickets ahead of time for that?
They can get tickets online, msaunitedway.org/Crosstown Brew Down.
And one more time, the date of that?
July 31st.
July 31st. Okay.
So that'll be coming up. So there's lots of different ways to give. We definitely need prayers. It's so hard because when you get to know the clients that are staying at our shelter, it changes a lot of people's misperceptions.
Sure.
You know, the people who can work, oh man, they do work. There's no one that really wants to live their life at a shelter. And we have so many elderly people that need higher levels of care, which is why it's so crucial that we need case management, right? And we need funding. We had Bible studies there. So we would also invite people for that. It's hard when we just open at 8 p.m. People are exhausted. We offer showers, laundry detergent to try to get that in before bedtime is very difficult for people. But when we do open up full time, which I know we will figure out that funding, I've just been praying a lot, then services for the kids, especially on weekends when they're not in school, mentoring, reading, art. We had haircuts for the homeless, you name it.
That's amazing. So before we wrap it up here, I guess I'm just wondering one more thing. I feel your stories, they're very heartfelt stories. I mean, and heart-wrenching stories. But at the same time, I feel like there's that spark of the success story with it. Do you have a story that you can just, I know there's hundreds, and just something that you were able to see kind of the follow through, the end of?
Yeah, so we all know how incredibly cold it gets in the wintertime. And a mom with her children ended up losing her business. This was closer to COVID time. She had a childcare business, and then because of COVID, you know, people were keeping their kids at home, and she didn't have that stream of income. She ended up sleeping in a storage unit with her little kids, and then in her car, and it just got too cold. She came to our shelter, and this is when we were open 24/7 and had plentiful services. We had case management. We had people coming in to help with housing and whatnot. She now she was able to save up her money, get a job, and then she was promoted. She got her own apartment with her children. She's now the manager at Insomnia Cookies.
Oh,
very cool.
Fantastic.
And then they now donate to United Way 3 times a week. Oh, we have volunteer needs for this. We need a volunteer to pick up Chick-fil-A and Insomnia Cookies 3 times a week. It takes under an hour, but you pick up the donations, and then we donate them to places like Ministry on the Margins and Youth Works and Abuse Adult Resource Center, the Dream Center, Heaven's Helpers. And so we need volunteers for an hour 3 times a week. It's so much fun and easy to do. We also had a gentleman who was sleeping in his car during the winter. And even though he had the heat on, he had money for gas to keep the heat on during the nighttime, he still got frostbite on his feet. A friend was able to take him into the ER. They told him he would have to have his foot amputated. We took him into our shelter, and West Central had a case manager who was helping to take him to all of his appointments. And because he had somewhere clean, sanitary to treat his wounds, so, able to get to his appointments. He was able to stay 24/7. Sanford Health was able to come in and clean his wounds. I mean, there's just so many things we don't think about in people who are extremely vulnerable in need of care. There are people from our community, and yes, we are responsible for taking care of them. Sure. We are. They're our neighbors. And so, however you can help, be a part of this. We're changing lives. When we had enough funding, 80% of the homeless we served did not return to homelessness.
Wow. Very cool.
Yeah.
Yes,
So
that's
it's not
incredible.
like these one-off success stories. It's actually the vast majority. It works.
You've just opened my eyes to a lot of services that you provide around here. Thank you so much for all you do.
Well, thanks for your support. Your recent support was huge. And it does
we're
make
going
all
to
the
keep your
difference.
information for our people to go
Great.
and check out at our Welcome Center with Lydia.
Yeah.
So if you're here and you want to learn more or find out ways you can help, stop by and visit with Lydia, and she'll have some information to get you in touch with United Way here in Bismarck.
Well,
Absolutely.
and thank you to each of you listening or watching. You really, truly are the change makers. We only have 6 people at our office, so none of this, I mean, it sounds so cliche, but really we can't do this work without really good people, good-hearted people like you. So.
Very cool. Last week you had me do it. I'm
did.
going to ask you to pray for it. So if you
Absolutely.
guys are driving, feel free to keep your eyes open. Otherwise, let's bow our heads. And Amy, if you wouldn't mind praying for this ministry.
Yes, dear Father, we just, wrap your arms around Jena and her team at United Way. All of the work that you are helping them do and in our community to keep all ages safe and protected. It's just incredible. Please continue to help find the resources that they need to support our community and do all of these incredible things. We want more success stories in our community and in our town. And we know that with your guidance and you leading the way, we can do that. In your name, amen.
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 Jena, what's the best way to reach out to you or get in contact with United Way? No, absolutely.
The easiest is on Facebook, probably,
Sure.
to message us or just call our office or stop in anytime. We have such a really great team. And we will figure out a way to put you into action. So
Perfect. Jena, thank you very much.
Thank you so
Amy,
much,
thank
you guys.
Thanks,
We'll see you
everyone.
guys
Take care.
next
Bye.
Thursday.